Did y'all know that we can actually impress God with our faith? And I'm not talking about pleasing God, I'm talking about impressing God. Because pleasing God is Him being satisfied and happy with our faith, but impressing Him is Him being basically admiring our faith, Him having a very strong reaction or a strong feeling toward our faith. Now, we know that the Bible tells us that it's impossible to please God without faith, but to know that we can impress God with our faith is on a whole nother level, okay? At least for me, like just to imagine impressing God and Him being overly overjoyed with our faith is such a like, oh my gosh, like I want to impress God. I want Him to be pleased with me, but I also want Him to be impressed with my faith. And usually when you're when people are impressed with something, it is a situation that is dire. It is the worst of our times in life, that for us to really please or not please to impress God, we got to be in the trenches. And I'm not saying like that's the only way, but a lot of times when our faith grows and when our faith is admired by others and couldn't be admired by God, is in those moments where things aren't working out well for us. My proof of this comes from Luke. It comes from Luke 7, and basically it talks about how Jesus was met by this Roman soldier's people. Let's just, make it simple. Yeah, them come to Jesus, and he told his people to tell Jesus, my son, or not my son, my servant is dying. It's a whole nother story. My servant is dying, and I need your help. Like, if you say the word, I know that it will be done. And so Jesus like, all right, I'm gonna go. So they were on their way to this soldier's house, a centurion. They call it a centurion soldier. On the way to the house, and he sent more people to say no, like don't come because he is unworthy. He said that he is unworthy of you being in his presence and you to come into his house. He said just say the word and he know that it will be done. Just say it, like here, standing where you are, and he knows that when you say the word, it will be done. When Jesus heard this, he was impressed. He was impressed by the centurion soldier's faith, because he's like, I don't have to be there for you to believe that this is going to actually be done, that I can actually heal this man without actually being there, without you actually seeing me. All I need to do is use my mouth, and you believe that you have that much faith. That impressed Jesus. So it's like that kind of faith, knowing that I don't have to see you. I don't have to see the work be done. I don't have to see the miracle be done. I don't need to have you near me to actually know that, okay, you're going to do what I want you to do. All I need is for you to say the word and it's going to be done. I want to also note that this whole situation was also recorded in Matthew, but in Matthew is recorded as the soldier coming to Jesus himself and asking for him to heal his servant. But in Luke, the amount of faith that this soldier has is so much more amplified when they tell you that he sent people to meet Jesus. He sent people. So not only did he have faith that Jesus would change it, but he had faith enough to know that the people that he sent to him would tell him, would relay the message correctly. He had faith on faith. So it's like that kind of faith. Like he didn't have to meet him himself. He didn't have to tell him himself and to have him come to his house. He's like, no, I know that this message is going to get to Jesus, and I know that Jesus is going to do, just by the words of his mouth, going to do what I asked him to do. That's how much faith that man has. If we can have that much faith in our everyday life, oh my gosh, like God would be so pleased. He would be so impressed by our faith. And that's hard. It's hard to have, but that is something to strive for. It's definitely something to strive for. I also want to mention that Jesus was not easily impressed, okay? He was impressed and amazed 2 times in the New Testament, and that was one, and the other was because the lack of faith that his own people had in him. And when he went to Nazareth, and they were like basically upset that he was even there. They're like, we know you ain't nothing special. He couldn't even do any miracles among them because they didn't have any faith in him. They didn't believe him. He was just a regular guy. So he was amazed by their lack of faith, but he was also impressed by the centurion's amount, how much faith he had. So just something for us to think about, When I was saying that you have to be in a dire situation to express that kind of faith. This man servant was dying. And there's so many other stories where people were dying and their faith to believe that Jesus was going to heal them had to come through. I just think that is so amazing though, because it's like in our weakness, he's strong. In our weakness, God is strong. And we shouldn't be afraid and shouldn't be scared and sad in those times, because we know that in those times, that's when God is the strongest. That's when he can show his miracles, and that's when he can show his peace and his love and his comfort in our lives. We can also have this same kind of faith when we know that God gave us a promise, when we know that we know that God gave us a promise that something was going to happen. We can trust that he's going to come through on his promise. I'm like, that really is something for me, is to have faith even in those moments where it's hard, in those moments where even when you can't see the miracle happen, you believe it because you know who God is, you know who Jesus is, you know who's in control. And yeah, that's how you impress God, with your faith. You impress him by having amazing faith in him that he will do what he says that he's going to do. But that's it.